more to say later, I'm sure. There's a lot out there on you, buddy, so we'll see what happens. But I just wanted to show once and for all that I'm not actually 5'1". So that's about all this video is for. So thank you guys.
Okay, so you're saying we can hear music, we just can't hear David Allen Coe, but Flamenco. David Allen Coe. Okay, Flamenco. If this number gets out to your boy Zoom, I know some friends up in New Jersey. I'm just saying.
Do you
Yes, please.
have an issue with this country being of any particular racial flavor?
I think the country functions better as a majority white country, yeah.
And do you think there is perchance a possibility of an international cabal of people of a particular religious or ethnic or cultural disposition who are working to oppose your interests in promoting, the white majority America?
I believe in an international worldwide Jewish conspiracy, if that's what you're asking. The Israeli state, AIPAC, actors like that have an outsized influence on our politics, on our foreign policy, and I don't think it's anti-Semitic to call that out. I was at AFPAC and stuff in Washington. That's public knowledge, but Fuentes has been on the show. I consider him a friend or whatever, but he's a piece of shit, and he should probably be in prison, to be honest with you.
Damn.
I was in jail during Charlottesville, actually. I'm in favor of political violence and killing cops and, killing politicians. The people who watch my show are more extreme than I am by far. I can't control what people think in the audience, and they message me. I've literally had message after message about an international worldwide Jewish conspiracy of killing cops and, killing politicians. I take pride in that. Like, literally, that's the kill stream way. What is Missouri? Oh, it's just a bunch of black voters, low IQ. Well, maybe I'm being a little racist. Those who don't know, I don't know if all your audience knows, we raised a little over $27,000 for St. Jude's, and they ended up refunding all that money because, we had Mark Collett and AIU debating the Holocaust.
I would consider Ralph and the broader kill stream to be one of the most unconvincing attempts at disguising Nazi ideology as humor, broadly. Like,
you know what? You're a communist faggot who should take a ride on a helicopter. You're actually part of the cabal who has had me banned from YouTube, who does not let me have a regular type living. I have to skirt around the edges, and it's because of people like you. Who are they talking to? Did they even know who I am? Like, I'm in favor of political violence. I want to shoot cops. I'm an actual fucking terrorist advocate. Not even a joke. That's literally, I'd rather kill myself. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. And there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. I don't give a fuck. The people who watch my show are more extreme than I am by far.
All right, now, I know you want me to show your poster, Zoomer Girl. Have me embarrass myself. All right, she drew this. Who is this? This is Ralph Chan. I'm going to have to show this? Yes. Okay. You're trying to bully me now. Epstein didn't kill himself. There's the kill. Is that the female version of me? Is that what you're telling me? My titties are bigger than that, actually, I think. So I think you're going to have to redraw that. But yes, there is she got this to hang on the wall. Out of camera view. We'll see. But I'm just messing. Oh, God. There it is. I showed it. Fuck you, chat. Good night. Good night. Get out of here.
Nathan. What? You fucking piece of motherfucking shit! I fucking goddamn eat a fucking call you a new grandpa nut.
My cat's missing. I don't even know how Cleo got out, and she's gotten out once or twice. Somebody says, "So drunk he lost his cat," and was not drunk on that program. But anyway.
yeah, there's a lot of hurt feelings in the chat from their fans right now because they hate me.
Why? How do they hate you?
You know, I've never really been able to figure it out, but I think it just boils down to the fact that I'm the co-host on the kill stream, and they're not. They
said
shot their shot. They shot their shot. They tried their damnedest to be a thing, and they just weren't. So what happens? They start to move into other people that also hate the show, that also, you know, want to see Ralph dead in a ditch somewhere. And they all start to move together into this like cohesive support group where they cope with each other, like the Killstream Battered Wives Shelter, basically. And so they all start to run all these stupid, like underhanded, subversive operations against the show. And the same thing happens to Dick Masterson. You know, all of Maddox's people, you know, they come up in this support group and they all try to run all of these crazy schemes to try to, this will take down Dick Masterson's show this time. You know, cartoon villain shit.
My supporters, no, I didn't like you doxing my supporters, Xander. I didn't dox them. That's not true. That's not true. As a matter of fact, no, it's not true. No, it's not true. Fuck yourself, you piece of shit, faggot motherfucker. No, it's not true. Piece of shit. Well, I did again. It's probably you that fucking doxed motherfucking lying, cock-sucking faggot motherfucker. You wanna holler over me every fucking second, or you just scream over you too, you piece of shit motherfucker. Keep fucking running your mouth. I'll just keep hollering. You motherfucking piece of shit. Eat a fucking rock. Go kill yourself. You fucking piece of motherfucking shit. I fucking goddamn. Oh, we can just holler over each other. Oh, fucking yeah. Fuck you, motherfucker. I ain't leaving, bitch. You leave. What the fuck I gotta do here? Fuck you off. Oh, wow. With your little 30 people on YouTube. Oh, my God, please. Okay.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of This Week in Nectar. Tonight we're going to be revealing the Defector within the Gunt Guard ranks. This is real. This isn't no fucking bullshit. We have a legitimate Gunt Guard Defector who we're going to reveal in a few moments, although, you know, the picture on screen might have revealed it a little bit. We're poking a little bit of fun with our guest tonight, but I wanted to bring on Mr. Kraut, my esteemed co-host tonight. The aristocrat of Kino has passed out in a pile of his own puke from drinking too much, celebrating the wins of today. And we have lost Godwinson. But Mr. Kraut, you're here tonight. I just wanted your hot take. What did you think about Mr. Ralph today stating to Mr. Vickers that he had fucked his daughter and that he beat his daughter? What did you think about all this crazy shit there, Kraut?
That is, of course, something that any man would at any moment, at any time, tell to his father-in-law. I'm fucking your daughter. Very, very much of a gentleman. Very much as one would expect from a southern gentleman like himself, from the trailers of wherever the fucking Virginia he's from. But yeah, honestly, I'm just as disgusted as you are, and I believe it will backfire on him dramatically. And I can't believe there are people who are actually backing him up on this and are like, "Yeah, you go, Ralph. Go fuck that 18-year-old." It's just gross.
I mean,
Disgusting.
Dome Pesos retweeted it. Dick Masterson retweeted it. Dick tweeted at the father asking him, because the father said, "I would do anything. I would die for my father or my daughter." Do you know what Dick said to the father?
Tell me, I don't know what Dick said.
Oh, he said to him, "Would you suck a dick for your daughter?" That's what Dick Masterson said.
So Dick
to the
Masterson
father.
is actually inferring that his daughter is in danger. Oh, you can have your daughter back, but let me rub my hands. I'm a Mexican hands. You want your daughter back? Yeah. Well, what are you willing to do with it? How about you come and suck on this little taco here? Oh, that's so fucking gross. Oh, gross. Fuck me. Ugh.
Now, another point, just to bring up quickly with you, Kraut. Did you see the teeth on Ethan's sweet, hot 18-year-old babe there?
I did. And I feel sorry that, like, I'm going to be honest, I feel sorry that all this shit is out there because she's going to regret this a year from now. Pretty sure of it.
Oh, fuck. It's just a fucking disaster, absolute disaster. Give us your thoughts, Kraut, really quickly on Ralph contacting Mundane Matt through somewhat dubious means, and he's apparently going to post this amazing prank call he made to Mundane Matt tonight.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about that, Kraut.
Matt called me after that call ended. What Ralph is going to edit out of the call is that Ralph asked Matt what it is like to not be the father of his own children or something. And then Matt just said, "Well, your dad is dead." And then Ralph spurged at him for a few minutes, screamed and shouted at him. And they said, "I'm going to play this in the kill stream. I'm going to wreck you." And hung up. And I'm pretty sure that part is what Ralph will not be playing today. I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah, I imagine he won't be playing anything that makes him look bad. I'm sure it'll be chopped up to all fucking shit. Just fucking terrible and disgraceful, as always, from Ethan Ralph. Do you have anything else you wanted to say? Any other fucking take you wanted to give on today's event? Anything about that fucking dick?
No. You know, I'm not personally involving myself anymore to any extent, but this train is racing towards a concrete wall, and the brakes are off. Now with that 18-year-old girl and her father involved and the way he's behaving, this is going to be a fucking disaster. An amazing disaster. And I am going to sit back to have a chuckle all the way through.
One final question before you go. How long do you give this relationship between Ralph and the sweet 18-year-old Cooney, as Black Pigeon Speak said?
Do you want to place bets? We can place bets if you want. I'll bet you.
Yeah.
I'll bet you 20 euros, which is about 20,000 Canadian dollars, that she will be back at her dad's place by Christmas.
Ooh, that's fucking tough. I think it probably will happen by then myself. Godwinson says 2 weeks. I think it'll be within the next 2 to 3 months. I see this pretty much crashing and burning.
Okay, I'll put my
I
20,
think they'll go.
I'll put my 20 that she will stick around for a few more months, but in December or November, she will be going back. November or December is where my bet lies. Godwinson says 2 weeks, and what are you saying?
I'm saying I'm going to give it 2 months. I'm going to say by the end of September or start of October, the relationship will be at an end, because there's just too much fucking bullshit, with the father getting involved and all the public pressure and all the scrutiny. It's going to fucking get to Faith's mind. She'll psychologically break, or Ralph will psychologically break, and that will be the end of the relationship. And hopefully she gets back to her father's before serious damage is done to her. But I imagine every day in the Gunt's presence is serious psychological damage to her, if not physical damage and abuse. And it's very, very sad to see, for sure.
And I'm sure the audience will hold our feet to the fire on the bet. and we'll see who gets the drinks. But yeah, this is not going to last. I believe we can all agree on that.
Yes. So, folks, we just want to point out that right now, Ralph has 600 viewers. There are 1,500 live viewers here right now for the reveal of the Defector from the Gunt Guard. There have been many bets placed down. Many people are really excited to find out who it is. I'm just going to have a look at the final results of my poll, which indicate 7.8% think Gator, 18% think Bibble, 24.6% think Randbot, and 49.7% have banked on Flamenco. Well, folks, if you guessed that Randbot was on the fucking program tonight, you guessed fucking right. The 25% of the audience that are smart are smart. The other 75% are idiots. Randbot 2020, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Well, hello, sir. How you going? Thank you for having me on.
It's going really well, Rand. Now, honestly, a lot of people are really surprised to see you on the show tonight, Rand.
Yes.
What finally spurred you to make the correct choice? Because we know that you're somewhat trepidatious about coming on the program.
Yeah, well, I think I've been a bit trepidatious about the whole PPP thing, and from what I've been told, really, and but then I didn't know about your politics and that you're actually a national socialist, because that's what you were saying just before. So that's good to hear. But there was some DMs the other day that I saw that I can't say I'm very impressed with that, and it seems that Ralph is listening to his new girlfriend, who is in fact a teenager, which I wasn't really clear on the information. And it seems like she's telling him which guests to get on, and she's into this Black Lives Matter and very degenerate sort of behavior, and getting on guests that Ralph's then putting on the show, and he's promoting this leftist agenda, as it were. You know, the nose has been exposed.
That's right. The nose really has been exposed. I mean, when you watched that fucking stream last night where he was just sucking off that leftist airhead who was saying that, you know, all the races can get along if we all just try hard enough, if we give enough gibs to black people, into abos, that we can all get along. But Rand, me and you both know that's not right. And, you know, Ralph is pivoting to the left, and nose has been fucking exposed, hasn't it?
Yeah, so very much so. I mean, he's no longer my mensch. That's for sure. My opinion's certainly changed, and I'm a family man. I don't think many people know about this, but you know, I actually have children, and if that was my daughter that he was dating, I would be most upset, especially with the comments that they've been ganging up on this on the poor father and saying to him. It's just really quite disgusting. I'm not too impressed about it. In fact, and then these DMs that have just been occurring over the last 48 hours, it's just not very good. Not very good at all.
I'm glad, Righteous Rand, that you're here to give us, you know, the Royal Rand truth, to bring forward enlightenment to the masses. Now, Rand, can you tell us a little bit, since you've been on the inside, now, does Ralph, like, direct you guys to, like, praise him and defend this stuff, or does everybody just kind of do it of their own volition? Kind of, how does it work in the Gunt Guard there?
Yeah, no, that does happen. I think what Ralph usually does, he does his group calls with all of us. You know, he's very much pushing a mantra, as it were, and so we're a bit of a team, and he sort of tells us what to say. So he says, like, you know, here's a tweet or here's a show, so you need to talk about this, and say things like, you know, you just want what Ralph has, and you know, you're afraid of his numbers, and wish you had those sorts of numbers, and just that sort of stuff. So we all go out there and say it as a team. Like, that's how he sees it. You know, we all just stick together and be the Jannies, the good Jannies, I guess, as it were.
Have you now, Rand? A lot of the issues with you and Ralph came up around when he didn't let you interview Jim Goad. You had really wanted to ask Jim Goad a question.
Oh, that's
you were a big
right,
fan
yeah.
of Jim Goad for a long time. You want to just let us know kind of what happened there?
Well, he didn't know anything about Jim Go, and then he muted me off the stream. Obviously, I was quite upset, and I kind of got over it. I think what people don't know is that my wife was very upset about the whole thing, and especially after I may have said several words that she wasn't impressed with as well. And she really hasn't let that go, and so and then because he was really talking about some private matters, and I told him that in confidence, and really he shouldn't be going and out in that, and it's quite distressing, and I was willing to give him another go, but there's just been too many things. It sort of keeps building up.
Well, what about all this stuff that's happened with Bibble? Bibble was trying to say you're ruining Ralph's show, and you're spewing rhetoric that's offensive and wrong. And you were kind of saying that Bibble was milquetoast. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about this yet?
Well, he is milquetoast. He's definitely milquetoast, and he's just a nigger. I mean, most people might not know this, but Bibble, right? Bibble worked for and streamed with the likes of Corey Barnhill or Gordo, also known as Godspeed. Who's admitted working for the feds. Like, he used to work for him before he came on the kill stream and was part of that. So it's not very good.
No, I mean, now that Ralph's surrounding himself with these leftists and feds like Bibble, do you think that Ralph himself is now a fed?
It's hard to say, but I'm not impressed at all with the leftist agenda that he's definitely putting out, and it's coming from the girlfriend. The girlfriend is telling Ralph what to do and what to say on the show. Well, she's having some sort of say, let's say, and so I'm very circumspicious about the whole thing, and it's just not very good. I think the nose is starting to be exposed.
What about, so did you hear at all about how Ralph's girlfriend has been raising charity funds for, the Gay Lesbian Alliance GLAAD and for Black Lives Matter? Have you heard these things?
Yeah, well, I didn't know about any of this. Like, I didn't know these things. I just thought she was some old a younger woman. I didn't know about the ages when Ralph actually met her and talked to her, and I didn't know about because Ralph says that, like, I stay off Kiwi Farms for the most part, and Ralph doesn't like us going on there or bringing it up with him. And so, like, I found out later, or just in the last 2 days, once people started talking to me, that she's giving money to Black Lives Matter and deals with, has dealings with actual homosexuals. It's degenerate behavior. And then she's the one dictating. I just don't get Ralph and why he seems to be simping out to her, and why he's putting people on the show that are clearly have a leftist agenda, and anybody that is against the right is working for the left, and they're just trying to take us down, and that shouldn't be tolerated. It needs to be a line in the sand, as it were.
No, probably at this point, Ralph's taking checks from Israel, isn't he, Rand? He's probably getting checks from George Soros as we speak.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but there is people that are definitely feds, and, they glow in the dark, and they're definitely working for the Jews, because most people know about the Jews and the big Jewish conspiracy. And it's a lot bigger than what people think, and Ralph needs to be careful, because that's exactly who he's starting to work for.
Now, I wanted to ask you, Rand, about Nora. What were your thoughts when Ralph married a Pakistani woman and firmly solidified himself as a race mixer, as a race trader? What were your thoughts when he married Nora?
Well, obviously, I kept my opinions to myself at the time, but there's a lot of things that I will sort of look past if I think people have got the right message, and obviously that was one of them. I don't appreciate race mixing. like in Australia, that that's 25% of the population, and it's just not. It's not good, not at all. I want that sort of stuff exterminated. I think there should be laws in place, and so I'm certainly not happy, but I'm not going to say anything to my friend. I was sort of glad when the marriage broke up, actually, to be honest. She needs to stay in her own country and
Rand, as far as you know, it was a real marriage. It was a real marriage, as far as you know. It wasn't because some people have speculated it's been fake or that they were never really married, they never really met, and this was just a cover for Ralph being a potential homosexual. Do you want to comment on that at all?
Oh, well, I don't know about it. I don't think Ralph's a homosexual or anything, but you never know. You never know. And with these new dealings with the leftists and the DMs that I've seen, I don't want to share out these DMs, of course, but I'll just say that I was very unimpressed with the DMs and what Ralph has been talking about with his girlfriend and what she's been propagating in his ear.
Just disgusting stuff, What did you think, Rand, about, I'm sure you've heard about the JC 187 Pornhub account where Ethan Ralph was looking at interracial pornography and cuckold pornography. What were your thoughts when all that came to light, when he was exposed?
Oh, I didn't know much. I don't know much about this because we only heard we only hear what Ralph really tells us, and he said to stay out of, stay away from the haters. So, because I always thought that you guys really did hate Ralph, and you all want to take him down, and it's like one big group. And so we were told to stay away. But from what I know, if that's true, it's just disgusting. I mean, I even saw clips of him talking about that Soph girl before she came on stream, and that was quite inappropriate as well. It just seems to be a pattern of behavior here, and let's just say I'm not too impressed about it. He's not standing to the principles that I thought he had, and he's starting to glow in the dark, really.
Holy shit. Rand, do you want to care to comment on the rumors that Ethan Ralph's father, Ronnie Ralph, has faked his death and is currently ripping off the Canadian welfare system?
Well,
do you know anything about that?
I wouldn't be surprised with the father. I mean, we actually heard quite a lot about the father during that time, and there was a lot of actual degenerate behavior, and maybe I should have seen what read the stars, as it were, and saw what was coming. But I wouldn't be surprised with that. The father is terrible and has been really. I was surprised that he hasn't been a horrible influence on Ethan Ralph. Maybe he has, and Ralph is really just showing his true colors now. That's what I think.
The father was a leftist his whole life, right? He was, apparently on benefits. He didn't work much. So I mean, that really could be an influence on Ethan's behavior. But as far as you know, he's still dead, or he's dead. You don't know for sure.
Yeah, well, I think he's probably still alive now, from what I've heard. So,
wow, you've heard it here first, folks. Rand is confirming that Ronnie Ralph actually is still alive. That he probably has faked his death. What was the relationship like with Ralph and Ethan? Because we know from the will that Ethan didn't actually inherit anything from his father. His father didn't leave him anything. But were they particularly close, or did they seem estranged?
Well, Ralph would actually talk to him quite often, and you would talk about him. But I think the problem is that he was always fighting with his dad. I remember when he was calling him a cocksucker and a faggot. All these terrible things that you shouldn't really say to your parents. But he talks like that to his mother as well. This is what he does. He just has no respect for his elders. And maybe I should have seen, the writing was on the wall as it was, and I should have been a bit more trepidatious, but there you go.
So Surfer has a question for you, Rand. I'm sure you're familiar with Surfer. Go ahead. What do you got from...
For work, I call Australians, right? And I do surveys. So I just talked to this guy. He told me he was an abo and he lived in a cave and he's got a spear. And his best, I asked him about his cave. He said, well, his best friend's a crocodile and some sort of snake. But he told me I should visit Australia and to go to Aries Rock and drive northeast 566 kilometers. And I'll come to a pond about the size of a house, and there's a cave by the pond. And he told me when I get there, whistle for Tony. And he said that they bring women because they throw women off of cliffs. Now, my question for you, if I go there, do the Abos throw women off of cliffs in the Northern Territory?
Oh, definitely, yes. Look, abos do horrible things, and they have what they perceive as a culture. It's not. It's degenerate behaviour, and I'm glad that they only make up 0.8% of the population. Did you know if you've caught line or the elders don't like you, they'll go around and spear your legs. Their so-called sacred tradition of shoving females off cliffs, it's something to do with them adulterating or something like that. You know, there's lots of laws silly laws that they have. I mean, did you know that Aboriginals, out of all of the intelligences that there are across the world, now it's clear, and this is actually a fact, that Aboriginals are the dumbest of them all in comparison to any other race.
Is it true, Rand, that the Abos never invented the wheel?
No, they didn't invent. That's right. Yes, they didn't invent the wheel at all. They at least got fire. That was about it.
I don't even think they invented fire. They probably saw a lightning bolt hit a log, and then they were, fire, you know.
No, I mean, they can't be completely retarded if they can befriend the crocodiles and the snakes in their caves.
Well, there's bushfires all the time out west, and so that's where a lot of the fires would have been naturally occurring, and the Abos just stole that, just like they steal everything else. And they're now stealing our government money. That's all they do, and that's all they're good for. Did you know that they get 3 times the amount of welfare compared to the average white Australian? It's not good, and things need to change, or they need to be put into their own separate communities, as far as I'm concerned.
Is it true that Abos don't pay any tax, Rand?
Well, a lot of them don't have to pay tax because they don't work. So it is true in a way, yes. And they get extra, or ab study, or ab fare, as they call it, where they get extra money compared to degenerate non-working white people. The whole system's just corrupt. It's obvious that the Jews are putting this in place because they want a welfare state, and so that they can hold power over all the people.
Wow. It's just shocking what's going on over there with these Abos. I mean, I hear they commit a lot of crimes. What do you say about them huffing gasoline? Is this true that they're Rama Rama?
Yes, they are in fact Rama Rama. Yes, that is true. And that song, did you know, was made as a school project because there was a Rama Rama problem within the community. And so the government pays for these art people to go around. It's paid for by the government. They go around to all these Aboriginal schools, and they all make songs with the kids, all fa-li-la. And they're talking about, oh, don't sniff petrol, it's bad for you. And then they put that up on YouTube. And that's their culture right there in a nutshell. And they're singing about it on YouTube. That's what made it famous. It's, and that's disgusting. We just need to wipe them out, really. And that's what needs to occur.
Rand, no! Rand, no, you can't say that, Rand. Well, we can't advocate. I don't necessarily co-sign the genocide on my show.
Well, that's it, yeah. And I just feel that, look, I've seen some of the other D-Live streams and other things, and I think I don't think I'm really that racy. Yeah, I might say racy things, but so do many other streams. It just seemed like I was targeted, and I think, like I didn't really want to say much at the time, and I was sort of being forgiving, but there was sort of a last straw with Ralph, and that was back with the Vash debate, or Vash, when he had this big debacle. He's threatening to dox him, and then he comes back on the stream in a drunken rant. And I was on that stream with him, and we were good friends then. And he was saying how he would take a bullet for me. Well, from what I've seen now, he's been going to the D Live mods, and he offered me up as a sacrifice. He offered me up as like a Juden, and basically genocided my D Live career, and so that he could keep a show. Is that really taking a bullet for me? I don't think so, because that's what he said at the time. He said he would take a bullet for old Grandbot, and then the next thing he does is he got rid of me. I didn't know this at the time. It's only just sort of come to light that I was put up as the Juden, as it were, and sacrificed on the altar for his show that's now promoting the leftist agenda. I can't go on D Live. I'm not even supposed to be on D Live at all. Thanks to him. I just don't think that's very good that I was made sacrifice for his own career. And where's my career? I'm a talking head and figure of the alt-right. I'm getting out my message. I do it any way I can, and I'm still growing. But I just think that I thought Ralph was still doing that, but that's not the message he's been promoting. He's promoting this leftist agenda now.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about, because I know you were on bitwave.tv for a while, and we could find your streams there. Are you still on bitwave.tv, Randbot?
No, I won't. Look, I won't go to Bitwave anymore. I don't mind Dispatch, but the problem was that I was trying to have a discussion in my chat, and let's just say there were certain people on Bitwave that weren't letting me have that discussion, and because they kept posting the ant emojis, and some people think that's all funny, but that's not really the reason I left. It's because it's supposed to be a free speech platform, and I wasn't allowed to have a discussion on there, and so I left. And now that it doesn't matter if they're sorry, it's too late. The damage is done, and I don't think I can go back with it without it causing more problems. I'm quite happy on YouTube at the moment. It seems to be going all right. Even though I'm not happy that I'm working basically for a Jewish corporation. But I need to find another platform. I think, but the perfect one's not out there, obviously.
From what I understand, you've been on Entropy, and you haven't had any issues there so far. They seem to be pretty tolerant of everything, Rand. Are you having fun on Entropy, Rand?
It's not too bad, but look, I'm getting good numbers when it's on YouTube, and when I was going on things like Bitwave, it was an Entropy. It's definitely a big loss in drop in numbers, and as a figurehead of the alt-right, people need to hear my voice, and so I'm trying to find a platform that people want to go to, and that's what's really important.
Well, speaking of different platforms, I wanted to talk to you about Stream Me, Rand. I think you were there during the time it was a thing. Do you want to comment just a little bit on Ethan Ralph's role in the death of Stream Me? Do you think it was his fault, or was it Xander's fault? Whose fault was it?
Well, Ralph was on his podcast talking about it the other night, and he, let's just say, he certainly told a different story as to what I had heard. I had heard that it really started up when Ralph was in with Corey Barnhill and his friends with the Plate Gang, and was telling them to dox his supporters because it would be funny. I mean, most people have seen that Discord message screenshotted. I've certainly seen it, and I've certainly heard from people like Wild Smile an alternate story.
Yeah. Now, I got to go back to Bitwave just quick. What was it about the ants being posted as emoticons that bothered you so much, Rand? What was it about the
Look, it's not exactly the end. I was just trying to have a discussion, and they just kept posting these ants. And look, they were doing it as a collective, and really anything that's in opposition to the right is a leftist agenda. And so the ant posting as a collective was leftist agenda, and because they were doing it as a collective, it's basically communism. So I know that people disagree with me on that, but I'm a figurehead of the alt-right, and so any criticism really is in opposition to what I'm saying or critique is in fact leftist agenda.
So are you saying that the ant posting is the work of the Jews, Rand?
Well, yeah. Look, the nose is being exposed, and I know, like they think they could trick me, but we all know that Corey Barnhill was behind all that, and he was on Bitwave and sending out people to then ant post in my chats. And we all know he works for the feds, and that Bibbles worked for him as well.
Do we know that? Do you know? Do you have any confirmation that Corey Barnhill, the pedophile and the liar, might have sent child pornography to Ralph, or that he might have consumed child pornography provided to him by the Plate Gang?
Well, I'm not sure about that. Look, I know that Andy Worski sent child porn to Ralph because Ralph's even admitted it to me. I probably shouldn't say this, but after the pedo bus stream, and Ralph did say to us, he said, like, look, obviously Worski has sent me child porn during that stream. It's pretty obvious, but we need to just stick with the story that that's not what was sent and transmitted across the internet by Worski to Ethan Ralph. But it was, in fact, a full folder of child porn.
Yeah. It's fucked up, man. That's really disgusting and sickening to hear. We had all pretty much knew that that's what happened, but to hear it confirmed by a member of the inner circle, it's still shocking,
Well, yeah, he didn't want it out there, yeah, but it was too obvious, and that was because of where that folder was posted by Ralph afterwards, and it had to be cleaned up very quickly by one of his main mods, Gazizis, and so that it was all, had to be swept under the rug pretty quickly, yeah. But he in fact had a folder of child porn on his computer, thanks to Andy Worski at one point in time.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about Uncle Adolf, Rand?
Oh, and how great he is? Is it?
Well, tell us what your opinion on Uncle Adolf is, Rand.
Adolf's the greatest. He's definitely my main bench, and I just love him. It's great. He's, if you really delve deep into things like his literature and what he was actually saying, and really break it down, he has solid arguments for why we need ethno states within this country and others.
Rand, what would you say is the main reason why you need an ethno state in Australia?
Well, it's obvious. It's to keep out the Chinese and the Abos and all the other cultures. Like, did you know that Victoria at the moment is totally shut down thanks to the coronavirus? While statistically speaking, Victoria is got more cultures statistically and a larger percentage of cultures, including 45% Chinese, that make up that state. Well, and yet is the only state that is affected by coronavirus. This is why the borders are shut down at the moment, and it clearly shows one of the reasons, only one, of why we need ethno states in this country.
Well, Rand, can you...
Well, I mean, if you're in an ethno state, how could you throw women off a cliff with the Avo? You never been throwing women off of cliffs with Diablos, Rand?
Well, no, and that's why we need to. They can do whatever they want to their own woman, and they can do it in their own little state. So.
Well, shit. Tell us what you think, because you mentioned the Chinese briefly. What do you really think about the Chinks, Rand? Really get it off your chest. You got a free and open platform.
They're taking over the country. Everybody knows that. If you go into the city, all you see is a sea of Chinks. They're currently making up 43.2% of just this city as alone population. And while they're the main proponent, 65% of the Chinese of the coronavirus, the people that were infected, 65% of them originally were the Chinese. And we know that the Chinese are definitely in cahoots with the Jewish organizations. And the Jewish businesses are the ones that they're cutting the red tape and letting the Chinese businesses into Australia and then taking over. They're creating a monopoly and they're creating a welfare state, and they're turning their workers away and trying to make their businesses more efficient. It's just absolutely disgusting. Look, it all glows in the dark. Any Chinese person I don't trust. I think they've got a big nose. I think they're a Fed, and I think they glow in the dark, really. I think they're working for the Jews. And the Jews definitely have one big control of this country and many other countries as well. They're a world power, and they need to be taken down.
That was pretty conclusive, Rand. It sounds like you're having a lot of the same problems as Canada's having. We're having a lot of Chinese immigrants come up here and inflate property values, but one of the bigger issues racially here in Canada is we have a lot of what I call the poo and loo problem. We have a lot of these East Indians coming over. They have bad hygiene. They're disgusting. What do you think about East Indians, Rand?
Oh, well, they're the worst of them all, really, aren't they? Just a smelly culture all round, and horrible people that have horrible what they call cultures. But really, their culture involves doing disgusting and degrading things. And while really behind the scenes, they're all just a pack of homosexuals and degenerates. I think that, there's a lot of exterminating that really needs to be done worldwide, and it needs to happen soon before the world goes even worse than what it already is.
So we briefly touched on how there are a lot more coronavirus cases in the diverse, so to speak, areas of Australia. What are your thoughts on the coronavirus, Rand? Is it a scam by the Jews? Is it real? What's going on?
No. Look, it's definitely a Jewish conspiracy. If you know about what I've been saying on stream, it was definitely designed by the Jews. Now people may laugh, but there is some actual scientific research done that will say that the 5G towers are helping spread this virus. And we all know, I think, most people should know that the virus was created in a lab. It's not bats fucking pigs and getting together. It's a systematic genocide of the white race, even though it perpetually came from China. But look, the Chinese government doesn't care about their citizens. They're willing to put them up as collateral to make it look like a virus that was naturally occurring, where really it's created by the world powers, which are definitely the Jews.
It makes a lot of sense to me, Rand. I just got to ask you, what are your thoughts on Mr. Nectar? He was pushing the coronavirus really hard recently. He's been saying that it's real, it's legitimate, it's not the work of the Jews, all this stuff. What do you have to say about Daddy Jim? You still a fan?
I think so. Look, I I've had some dealings with Jim, and I like his messaging, and I think he is still an important figurehead of the alt-right. And I think that's important. I'd be interested to hear what his opinion is on, if dating a teenager is an okay thing to do. Because, look, I didn't want to say too much. And look, I really didn't have all the information, but let's all be clear. Ethan Ralph is dating a teenager, and 18 has the word teen in it for a reason, and that should disgust people. It certainly disgusted me, and when I told my wife, boy, did she flip out. And that was basically it. We had a bit of a discussion, my wife and I. She was already upset with Ralph over several other things that he made, or jokes as Ralph would put them. And I was starting to get circumspicious about the whole thing. But Ralph is, he's dating a teen, and I'm putting my foot down now and saying, no, my alt-right career isn't as important as sticking up for what's right, and dating a teenager certainly isn't right, and certainly going off at the teenager's father with disgusting behaviour is certainly not the right thing to do. It's all just a bit disgusting, and look, I don't like the daughter. I think that's pretty clear. I think that she's a leftist. I think it's clear that she's a leftist, and I think that she's poisoning Ralph with her leftist agenda, and that's now coming out on the kill stream, and that's the main point. That's the main thing that I think that people should be aware of, that the kill stream's totally going to change. It's going to become some sort of leftist show, and soon they'll be doing charity runs for Black Lives Matter and other stuff. All because of his girlfriend. I just don't understand why Ralph would simp out to her like that. An 18-year-old.
Yeah, it's surprising. Now, there are some people who've defended that Ralph's dating a teenager. What are your thoughts on Gator as a person, as a co-host, and as he's defended to the bitter end, Ralph taking advantage of this teenager and Ralph attacking the father? What's your take on Gator, Rand? Give it to us.
Look, I've talked to Rand for lots, many hours, but then really I don't know where Gator really stands on it. To be honest, Gator's very boring. He's quite milquetoast, and so he doesn't really say anything of interest at all at any point. The soundboard stuff was always funny, though. I don't even know what his politics are, to be honest.
What about Dame Pesos? Dame has been a big-time defender of Ethan Ralph, saying that everybody's jealous of his teenage girlfriend. What are your opinions on the spick Dame?
Well, yeah, and that's just it. He's a spick. He's a brown person, and he's not very intelligent. Let's just be clear. He's done quite a lot of dumb stuff. Behind the scenes, he tries to talk about things on an intellectual level, and yet says just absolutely nothing because he just doesn't understand it. It doesn't compute in his small little brain. And the fact that from what I heard, he's calling people like Monday Matt a pedophile, but then if you even call Ralph creepy for dating a teenager, or just state that fact at him, you will get blocked by him on Twitter because he's adamantly defending that type of behavior as okay. I think Dame is very hypocritical. I think he doesn't have a very high intelligence, and let's be clear, this is statistically speaking, he shouldn't have a high intelligence, which he does not. And really, I think he's probably really a degenerate from what I've been hearing behind the scenes. That he, in fact, is probably homosexual, or it's something about having to live on the streets down at the docks, and was, in fact, sucking dick for money at an earlier time in his life. I just think that's very disgusting. It doesn't matter what culture or how poor you are. I think that's very degenerate behavior. And then Dame should be ashamed of himself for sucking dicks, really.
He certainly should be ashamed of himself for sucking dicks. That's fucking degenerate. It's disgusting, and I think that he'll get the firing squad or he'll get the rope. Now, Rand, I imagine you've seen Ralph's Twitter today. He went out to eat with his child bride. Did you see the image of her teeth that appear to be browned or blackened by what we can only assume is crystal meth usage? Did you see this image? And if so, what's your take?
Yes. Yeah, no, I have. And look, I've actually seen her on Facecam. It was a few months ago. And this is why I'm thinking she maybe actually was in fact 17 years old when they first started talking, because she used to come into calls with us on Facecam, and you could clearly see the teeth. Now, I know that she's had some questionable relationships in the past, and could have been in fact smoking meth with this other gentleman before she even got in touch with Ralph.
Now, have you seen any images of this gentleman who was the ex-boyfriend? Have you seen the image of him with the bicycle helmet with the dildo taped to it?
Oh, yes, definitely. And she has talked about the fact that he was definitely a leftist. And he was probably was a big influence on her, and why she supports things like homosexual groups and Black Lives Matter.
Wow. Just fucking shocking. Just shocking shit. Now, Rand, I got just a couple of general interest questions for you. Rand, tits or ass, Rand?
Oh, I'm definitely an ass person. Like, if you've seen my wife, you'll know why. I love them big, love them round.
Now, Rand, what are your thoughts on BDSM? Is that based in red pilled or is it degenerate?
No, it is degenerate. And look, you should have one partner. You should have an appropriate partner of your same race. Except if you're Jewish, you shouldn't be doing anything then. And that's it. And it should be a very traditional, let's just say, a marriage or copulation.
Now, Rand, what do you think about people with foot fetishes, Rand? Is it based in red-pilled or degenerate?
Oh, no, I think it's definitely degenerate. I think a lot of that is a bit of a joke, but no, if you really have that type of fetish, I think it's very, very disgusting, and it's not something that you should be aspiring to do, and it's certainly not something that I would aspire to do as a figurehead of the alt-right.
Okay. What's your favorite sports team, Rand? Or what's your favorite sport in general?
Oh, well, I think everybody knows that I really love the AFL. Not a lot of people may know what the AFL is. And, of course, I go for the Brisbane Lions, and they play at my favourite stadium, which is the Gabba. It's a very good sport. It's high energy. I think people should watch it. It's really only something that you'll find in Australia, though, hence the name, Australian Football League.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never seen an AFL match. Do you recommend I check it out?
I definitely recommend that everybody check it out. I think EA has made one of those games as well, so you can actually play it. It's a lot more high energy, and it's not so stop-start as compared to American football. And that's the main thing I don't like about that game, where they have to go off to the sidelines and all have a chat about it and have a bit of tea and coffee while they look at strategies. While with AFL, the ball's just on the field in a big circle, and they just run around in a big huddle, and there's no padding or anything. Everyone's just got on the same shorts and the same jersey, and that's it. And you can jump up on people and tackle people over. It's a very good sport.
Right. But are there many blacks that play it?
How many what?
How many blacks are playing, though, in the sport right
now? Well, yeah, and this is the problem. Look, there's Aboriginal incentives and funding for Aboriginals to play in the game. It's definitely I'm not happy about the money side of it. But at the same time, can I just say that there are a small amount of Aboriginals that are very athletic, because that is what they were designed for in the grace of God. That is what their culture was designed to walk long stretches and run around a lot. And so they're actually fit for the sport. But I don't think that the government should be coming in and giving them extra funding to be in the sport. If they're good enough, then they should be able to join and play. Do I think that they think they should do their own league? Yes, but well, that's another thing. Yeah, sorry, Crown.
Yeah,
What
Rand,
do you want
I wanted to ask you, why did you make peace with Ralph after he secretly recorded you crying about your dead child and then attempting to blackmail you with that? Why would you go back to such a man? Isn't that kind of weird? Cocky almost?
Well, look, I like to treat my mates as my mates, and at the time I was very upset over the Jim Go thing, but he came back to me. He apologized, and I was willing to give him another chance. Should I have? Maybe not. And was I a bit trepidatious about him and his behavior? Yes, and I think maybe that was the wrong mistake. But at the time, I was sort of thinking about the fact that I was the figurehead of the alt-right, and I had to put my career first in that circumstance. And the way to do that was through Dick Masterson and Ethan Ralph's show, because they were also perpetuating the same message. Well, what I thought they were, but clearly they're moving away from the alt-right centric politics and starting to promote leftist agenda or nothing at all, and degenerate behavior. And that's not what I thought they would be on for.
Well, Rand, a lot of people would call that behavior pretty cock. Would you agree with that you cocked to Ethan Ralph in order to...
Well, I don't know if I necessarily cocked to Ethan Ralph. He did come to me and look, he was most upset, and I was very upset as well. Look, I admit I might have been crying at the time, and when we spoke after that event, I was very upset. I spoke to my wife inappropriately as well, and she was still upset. And she, let's be clear, she'd never liked Ethan Ralph after that point.
We're not just here to kiss your ass. I gotta ask you a fucking tough question. I heard you fucking kicking your wife on stream, and you yelled at her to shut the door. Do you think that that's the proper behavior from an alt-right leader such as yourself? To beat your wife and yell at her to shut the damn door?
Well, no. See, that was a moment of weakness, and may I just say that was brought on by Ethan Ralph. He was the cause of that, and maybe I should have seen the light back then. That the nose was starting to be exposed, and I was very brash with her. I have a temper, and I do get out of control sometimes. I've talked about that with my wife. Let's just say that she can fight back sometimes as well. I've certainly copped a few red ones across the face when we've had our tiffs.
Well, it certainly sounds like an aspiring leader of the alt-right to me. There's a couple names I want to get to on this list. Two more, and then we'll start to wrap up this segment, Rand, and we'll go into the kill stream snipe segment of the show. I just wanted to ask what your impressions, your opinion was of Flamenco. A lot of people thought he was going to turn on Ralph tonight. It turned out to be you. What was your impressions of Flamenco?
Well, look, Flamenco's a leftist, and because he enthusiastically, let's just put it, and openly endorses, let's say, diverse relations and degenerate behavior. Did you know that his main Jannies are making, let's just say, lolly porn? Where they're making like figurines or statues life size from lolly porn. So they're basically making anime children life-size dolls that they can then do degenerate things with. These are Flamenco's main Jannies. I don't know if people know this about Flamenco. Yes, he is autistic, but his political views are definitely left-leaning, and I think that's the main reason why he's going to be sticking around Ralph's show, because Ralph seems to be going in that way, and Flamenco is certainly very interested in that. I'm just upset about the whole thing. I thought that, I've always had a problem with Flamenco's politics, but what I really didn't think is that Ethan Ralph, of all people, would be simping to his teenage girlfriend and promoting a leftist agenda on his own show. That's what really got me under the skin in the end. Very upsetting.
Well, I got to ask you about one last name on the list, and a couple of things about him. But what are your thoughts on Dick Masterson and his whole new Project 2 thing? Was that a way to enable alt-right figures to make money, or was that just a grift so that the Mexican Jew Dick Masterson could subvert the alt-right? What are your takes on Dick Masterson and the whole new Project 2 fiasco, so to speak?
Well, look, most people think that they know that I spoke highly of Dick Masterson. And the thing really is that Dick Masterson was able to he was really able to support my platform of being a figurehead of the alt-right and help get me out there. Well, that's what I thought anyway. He did promote me a few times, but at the end of the day, he didn't put me on his new Project 2 when I did ask. And I think that it was probably a bit of a grift. And I think that he does a lot of things for just money. And I think the nose is starting to be exposed. Clearly, if he's making all this money and lives in what he calls a mansion, as it were, I just think that he has some answers that he needs to give for his behavior, and I think that his political leanings aren't what I thought they were. I think look, he has come into a few calls, private calls or group calls with us, and it's very weird. Like, Ethan Ralph will listen to Dick a lot of the time. Like, I think most people know that Ethan Ralph has copied Dick Masterson and his format for his show. And Dick was the one, and is usually the one that comes in and gives him all the ideas, and says okay, well, you need to put yourself on camera because you're selling yourself as a brand, and you need to do it basically how I'm doing it. And here, come down to my house in LA and learn how to do it. Now, usually Ralph will always go because Ralph really respects fucking Dick Masterson's opinion. And kind of simps out to him a bit. And so when the girlfriend started wanting these leftists, more leftists on the kill stream, and Ralph said yes, he actually did go to Dick Masterson, and Dick Masterson was, I didn't really want to say this, but fuck it, Dick Masterson was actually saying that's a great idea, and that was the way to sort of lean, because, the alt-right community has really fallen against Ethan Ralph, and Dick Masterson. They don't like them. They hate them, in fact, and they're very toxic for the community. So, as Dick Masterson puts it, he thinks that Ethan Ralph and himself should put out a more leftist-centered show that people that can then watch to try and pick up new viewers and a more degenerate alternative crowd.
Yeah, so final question for
it's
you,
very circumspicious. Sorry, yeah.
Our last question for you, Rand. How many drinks deep are you right now, and what time is it there in the morning in Australia?
Well, it's 12:45 in the afternoon. I may have had a few beers. I like the VB and or virgin bitters, as we like to call it here. I've had about it's 12 cans there. There's a few more. I think about 16, 18 drinks. That's not too heavy for me. I mean, I don't think I'm really slurring my words that much, and it takes a lot more. I'm an Australian, and we're all very good at drinking, so.
Well,
It's
Righteous
just one thing
Rand,
we're able to do.
Righteous Rand, I really appreciate you appearing on This Week in Nectar for us. This is about the end of the hour that I've scheduled you to be on for. I think at this point I'm going to have Kraut play us out with the music, and then I will be back solo on my phone to give us a kill stream snipe. So folks, stick around because there's going to be another stream right after this. But Kraut, Sir Kraut, King Kraut, might you play us out with the outro music?
Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's old style. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.